Welcome to the Builder Information Systems Video Learning Center. This tutorial will cover the initial payroll entry process for completing the beginning balances. With the initial beginning balances journal entry completed and accounts payable entered, the next step is to enter payroll if payroll applies. Please note that because of the number of related payroll account fields, it may be more expedient to first set all of the account fields on the Payroll tab in System-Wide Parameters to the Payroll Suspense account prior to doing the following Payroll Beginning Balances process. Be sure to also set all the account fields to the suspense account in both the federal and state tax information areas, which are accessible by selecting the corresponding buttons in the upper right of the Payroll tab. There are several options for entering the beginning balances payroll information. A somewhat simplified way to enter previous payroll and still get important payroll reports is to enter one payroll check for each employee for each quarter and/or portion of a quarter in the current calendar year. As previously noted, these payroll checks will affect only the payroll suspense account in the general ledger. These entries can be done in the Cash Disbursements payroll check portion of Builder Information System. To access the Cash Disbursements payroll checks, select the Payroll Checks link adjacent to the Cash Disbursements in the white area of the My Desktop General Ledger folder, or go to Transactions, Cash Disbursements, and select Payroll Checks. To initiate a transaction, on the main tab, enter a check number and check date. Each check should be dated with the last day of the applicable quarter or month. Select or enter the employee's ID. The employee's name, tax withholding state, and unemployment state information will auto-populate coming from the employee's master record information. Pay period may also be the last day of the applicable quarter or month. Notice the Calculate Withholdings checkbox. When checked, all the withholdings and company contributions are calculated on the Totals tab as the information is entered. When unchecked, all the withholdings and company contributions will remain blank on the Totals tab. You may opt to leave the Calculate Withholdings unchecked and then enter the information on the Totals tab. Or check the setting, change the information as needed prior to posting. We'll touch upon this later. Next, each account on the Accounts tab and the State Accounts tab must be set to the Payroll Suspense account. If you haven't changed the account fields in System-Wide Parameters, you may do so on those tabs as needed. Next, select the Hours tab. Here you'll enter the hours for the period. When entering hours, the user can enter the total hours worked and the actual hourly rate, or record 1 hour on the hours line and set the payroll rate for the line to the total for that quarter. Again, it's important that the GL account on the hours line is also set to the payroll suspense account. Next, any quarter-to-date additions, deductions, tax deferred, and local tax information is recorded on the corresponding tabs, moving from left to right. Again, be sure to use the payroll suspense account. Once the employee's information, hours, certified hours, additions, deductions, tax deferred, and local taxes are all entered, the totals information may be reviewed on the Totals tab. Now note that when the Calculate Withholdings box is unchecked on the Main tab, all the withholding and company contributions are not calculated on the Totals tab. Selecting the Click here to edit withholding and company contributions link on the Totals tab allows the withholding and deductions and the company contributions to be entered or edited manually as needed to ensure that the exact amounts based on information from the previous accounting system. Be aware that if you go back to the main tab and check the Calculate Withholding box again, it will revert the calculations, thereby overriding the withholdings and company contributions information entered in on the Totals tab. Once the information is correctly entered, click the Save icon or use Ctrl+S to save the transaction. Unlike within Payroll Hours and Adjustments, when the transaction is saved in Cash Disbursements, it posts to the General Ledger. Again, this process is duplicated for each employee for each completed quarter and the portion of the uncompleted quarter for the current calendar year. An alternative method is to enter each check of the calendar year using the same method as described above. This method may be utilized if check-by-check detail is needed, or if the fiscal year changed only shortly before utilizing the Builder Information System software. Another alternative method is to enter one single check for each employee. The disadvantage to this is that you won't have your quarterly information available for checking the accuracy or for isolating and determining any potential errors. Once all the previous payroll information is entered utilizing one of these methods, from this point forward, all the subsequent payroll processing will use the normal payroll account and not the payroll suspense account.